Hello, welcome to FM Scout. I'm Bood FM, and today we bring you an experiment with Arsenal Football Club. Just before we get started, I want to point you in the direction of my channel. I've got a Let's Play at the minute with Huddersfield Town. I'm loving it. Hopefully you'll check it out, subscribe and love it too. There'll be a link down below to my channel. There'll also be a link down below to my Twitter. Hopefully I'll see you in the comments soon. Now I think we all know, or we've all seen in the press and on the news, that Arsene Wenger's contract is coming to an end at the end of this year. Now he's been there for a very long time. He's had a great record, won a lot of trophies. Just a lot of people thinking at 66 years old, maybe it's time you step down as Arsenal manager and let someone else take over. It's probably looking that way. It looks like he's possibly going to end his Arsenal time at the end of this season, so we'll have to wait and see. But if we just look at his stats, I mean, he is one of the best managers that's ever been. He is, honestly. I mean, and I'm a Manchester United fan, and we had Alex Ferguson, and after Fergie, you know, he's been there a long time. And if you look at his stats, he's got brilliant abilities, brilliant attributes. He's great with youngsters, got good attacking coaching, good man management. He's adaptable, he's determined, he's got good judging play potential. And he's a great manager. But this experiment is going to see what would happen if at the end of this season he actually does leave, if it's the end of an era. We're going to put two guys in charge of Arsenal, and we're going to have a look at how successful, using Football Manager, they're going to be. Now here we are on the Arsenal club page, and if you have a look, what we've done is we've put Arsenal under a transfer embargo until the summer of 2017. That's just because, well, you start this game and you have the Arsenal squad that Arsenal have got right now. So what we want to do, we don't want Arsene Wenger making any virtual transfers that he hasn't made in real life. So when we get to next summer and start the experiment, it's a fair experiment, and the guys are starting with the Arsenal squad they would start with in real life. And here is the Arsenal squad. This is the squad that the two new managers will start with at the start of next season. But for now, we're going to go on holiday for one season. Arsene Wenger's last season. Can he end it on a high? Now here we are, we've jumped a year into the future. It's the 1st of July 2017. This is the Premier League table at the start of the new season. As you can see, Manchester United won the title last year. But it didn't end in tears for Arsene Wenger. He actually went out on a high and he won the Champions League. Don't know how realistic that is, because no offence to Arsenal or any Arsenal fans, but I think they've got a bit of an uphill battle at this moment in time in real life. To do that this season. But in the virtual world, Arsene Wenger finished his Arsenal career a Champions League winner. And here he is, he's out of a job, his career at Arsenal has ended. I'm assuming he's going to go all the way back to France and enjoy his retirement. Here's the transfer page just to show you that Arsenal brought nobody in either window last season. They've just let a few players go on freebies. So the transfer embargo has now been lifted. And which two managers are we going to put in the job? Let's have a look. So this is the news statement, and Arsenal are looking elsewhere following Wenger's reign. And the bookies odds are Marcelino at 7-1, Diego Simeone at 15-2, and Rafa Benitez at 8-1. Now I can safely say that one of them is in this experiment. The other one is a promising young English manager. Let's have a look at him first. And it's Eddie Howe, the Bournemouth manager, 39 years old. Promising English manager, touted as a future England manager, definitely, hopefully, will develop into a top quality manager. And in reality, personally, and with the rest of the FM Scout team, we would love to see a young English manager get the chance to manage a big club. And he has been mentioned by the bookies. And in this world, Eddie Howe is getting his opportunity at a massive club like Arsenal. So here we are on his page. As you can see, he's got some decent stats, but he's only young. As a manager, he's very, very young, but he's got massive room for improvement. He's not got any stats or any attributes that scream out top quality, but all round, he is very, very good. His coaching style's general, playing style's mixed. His preferred formation is a 4-2-3-1 wide, and yeah, I think he's a good manager with a lot of promise. We've put him on a nice contract of 150 grand a week. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. Let's have a look at Eddie Howe's achievements at Bournemouth. And we're going to look at his achievements at his second stint at Bournemouth. He was manager at Bournemouth before, went to Burnley for a short time, came back. Now, Bournemouth aren't the biggest club, no offence to Bournemouth, but they're a fantastic club. He's took them through the leagues all the way to the Premier League. And yeah, it's amazing what he's done. He's done a very, very good job. And it's been nice to see. They're a great team to watch. Now, he hasn't won any major trophies. He's obviously won the Sky Bet Championship and Sky League 1. But he's had a good record, and I think he deserves a chance like this. And I really hope he does well at Arsenal. Let's have a look at the important bit. His first transfer window. And he's brought in 4 players and he's spent 108 million. He's also sold some players, recouped just short of 20 million. Now, the big player he's bought for a massive fee from Juventus is Paulo Dybala. Possibly and probably one of the best strikers on the game. He's fantastic. I had him in my personal save with Manchester United, and the guy just dominates. He's also bought Van Dijk from Southampton, Jerry St. Just from Herenveen, and Pullman from PSV Eindhoven. So, he's made a couple of signings. The Dybala one though. Arsenal have been screaming out for a superstar striker for a long time. Can Dybala be the key to unlocking an English Premier League Championship? Let's have a look at the tactics he likes to use, and it's a 4-2-3-1 wide. A tactic I think could suit the current Arsenal squad. And obviously he's bought a couple of players. Dybala's in that team, and apart from that, the rest of the team looks like the original players that were already at Arsenal. And like I said, Arsenal have got a good squad. They've got good players. I just think they need that striker. And Eddie Howe's thought, yep, let's spend the money on Dybala. He's the man. I reckon they're going to be scary this year. Now, the second man we're going to give the job to is Diego Simeone. Another young manager. He's only 47 years old. Argentinian legend and a quality manager. He has done fantastic things with Atletico Madrid. Massive club, don't get me wrong, but they are competing in a league with Barcelona and Real Madrid. And the fact that he's been able to win titles and win anything against them 2 massive clubs shows you exactly how good he is as a manager. Now, if we have a look at his profile page, I mean, wow, look at his attributes. Fantastic. Look at all them greens. Man management 19, mental 19, adaptability 20, determination 19, motivating 19, tactical knowledge 18. This guy, as a manager, is an absolute beast. So I'm expecting big things from him. And a lot of people have said he will end up in the Premier League one day. And I'd like to see that. Here we are with Simeone's achievements at Atletico Madrid. And he's got a good record. He's got a record most managers would want. Unfortunately, he's lost the Champions League 3 times. One of them was virtual against Arsenal last season. But he's managed to win a league title. He's won cups. He's won the Europa League. So, do you know what? He's done absolute wonders with Atletico Madrid. If we have a look at his first transfer window, you can see he's brought in 4 players too, and he's spent 83 million. He's also brought in a bit more money than Eddie Howe, and he's sold £24.5 million worth of players. Looking at the players he's brought in, he's brought 2 in from Barcelona, a good young player, Vidal, good player as well, and he's brought 2 lads in from Sporting Lisbon. So he's spent a lot of money, and I think that's some good players there, some good players. So let's have a look at his tactics, because he plays very differently to Eddie Howe. And here is his tactic. It's a 4-4-2. Now, that sounds strange to me, because you look at managers from abroad, out of England, and they always go for a bit more, the fancier tactic. The 4-2-3-1s, it's usually the English that go for the 4-4-2. So it's Eddie Howe, I'd assume, would go for a 4-4-2, but he hasn't. Diego Simeone has, and it obviously worked for him because he's had a fantastic run on a fantastic record with Atletico Madrid. And he's bringing his 4-4-2 to Arsenal. Does it fit the current squad? I don't know. He's got Alexis Sanchez as a bog standard midfielder left. I don't know. Aaron Ramsey's a right midfielder. I know he can play there, but is he natural there? I wouldn't say he is. So it's going to, he's brought in a couple of players. It's going to be interesting to see if he can make it work. Right, we're with Eddie Howe. We've jumped a year into the future, and as you can see, we're right onto the Premier League, and he's won it. His first season as Arsenal manager, and he's won the Premier League. And he had the league's top scorer in Alexis Sanchez, the best player in the league in Ozil, most assists in the league in Ozil. So he's turned a player that can sometimes not be that consistent, because he can't, into one of the best players in the league. Dybala had the most man of the matches, so fantastic, fantastic to come straight in as a young English manager and win the title I'm buzzing with that. That's very, very good. Let's take a look at his winter transfer window, and he brought in one player, Bob Bitter. That's a great name for Ajax, 1.2 million. So not a massive game changer player, but he didn't need it, did he? He's worked wonders with that squad this year. Right, before we look at any of his other competitions, I wanted to look at his staff, and a lot of new managers come in and they bring new staff in, and he's done the same. A lot of staff leave when a manager goes, and a lot of Wenger's staff left with him. And it looks like Eddie's brought in a couple of guys, a couple of scouts from Italy, but then brought in a lot of fellas from Bournemouth. He's brought an assistant manager from Bournemouth, a couple of coaches. So, he's stayed loyal to the boys he knows, and it's worked for him because he's a champion of England. Looking at his tactics, he's stuck with the same tactics. It's worked for him. He won the Premier League, but did it work for him in all the other cup competitions? Here's the League Cup, and no, didn't work in the League Cup. Played Milton Keynes, got beat 2-1, probably played a B team, was knocked out in the third round of the League Cup. In the FA Cup, wow, he was so close to doing the double in his first year. Got beat in the final 2-1 to Chelsea. Wow, how disappointed would that be? But still, he can console himself with a nice Premier League trophy. And finally, we look at the Champions League, and as you can see, he got knocked out by Paris Saint-Germain in the first knockout round. Also lost to Barcelona twice, but you know what? I think getting to a final, an FA Cup final, and winning the Premier League is a very, very good season. And if we look at the managers of the month, he won manager of the month in October and February. Did he win the big one? He did. He was Premier League manager of the year. So you know what? Fantastic. Great to see an Englishman come into a big team, a young Englishman, and say, I can do this, and show everyone that he can. And I imagine if you could carry this save on with him in charge, I think he'd develop, I think he'd grow, and I think he'd keep winning trophies. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And we finish our time with Eddie looking at Arsenal's general overview page, and as you can see, he made it onto the favoured personnel list, which is fantastic. Him and his star striker, Paulo Dybala, in 1 year made it onto that page. Right, we've pressed the reset button and we are straight back to the Premier League, and we're with Diego Simeone, and as you can see, he finished 4th by 3 points only just, but you know what, he finished above Tottenham, so any Arsenal fan would be happy with that. He got Champions League football, but he didn't compete with Eddie there, did he? Was it his tactic? Was it? I don't know. We'll have a look at everything in a bit more detail. Looking at the transfer list, he brought in another 2 players, but not massive players. He's brought in that young lad from Man United, another lad from Rosenborg, for small fees. So he's not bought any game changers in the January transfer window. He's just stuck with what he had. What he didn't stick with was his staff, and it looks like Wenger's staff are left again with him. And he's brought in 2 scouts from Italy, and brought in an assistant manager from Everton, Steve Walsh, who's a good assistant manager on this game. Free transfer goalkeeping coach in Vic Bettinelli. He is a good goalkeeping coach. And Terry Moore from Liverpool. So, he's made his own stamp on his staff. Now, tactic-wise, he's stayed with his 4-4-2. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad tactic. I love 4-4-2. I play a similar style. I play 4-4-2. But I think he needs a bit of time, really. Done a few transfer windows to maybe sell a few players and get players to fit that tactic. Whereas I think with Eddie Howe, he had a tactic that suited the squad. I think give him time and Diego Simeone would win the title too. One thing Diego did win was the League Cup. Great run, knocking out Birmingham, Leeds, Stoke, Chelsea in this 2-legged semi, and then Watford in the final. And looking at the final, absolutely dominated it. Dominated it in shots, a lot more on target, dominated the possession. Mustafa got man of the match. Goals from Martins, Campbell and Akpom. So, fair play. He hasn't won the Premier League, but at least he won a trophy in his first year. Here's his FA Cup run, and he got knocked out in the 4th round. He was beaten by Swansea. And if we move on to the Champions League, he also got knocked out in the first knockout round, which is disappointing, to Dortmund. Played his old team though in the groups. I bet that was fun. Oh, but that was good. Beaten both times. Atletico didn't even score a goal against him. So, not the greatest. He didn't win one of the big trophies, but at least he won a trophy. Looking at the manager of the month for the entire season, and he won it in November. That was the only time he won the award. And manager of the year this year went to Claudio Ranieri, who also won it 2 years ago, obviously in real life, when he won the Premier League. So, Has he done better than Eddie Howe? I'm not too sure. And looking at Arsenal's general overview page, he's failed to make it onto the favoured personnel list. So even though he's won a trophy, when you're at a big club like Arsenal, the League Cup is a cup, but I don't think it's classed as very important. So it wasn't enough to get him on the favoured personnel list. So there you go, that's the end of the experiment. We just wanted to test out 2 managers, one English, one from abroad. Both young still as managers, both with a bright future ahead of him, to be honest. Now, personally, I think Eddie Howe did better. He won the Premier League, but I do think his tactic and the way he played suited the squad he had. He bought one big striker and he won the league. I think with Diego Simeone, he had a different way of playing, and I think give him time, give him the chance to buy a few players and really get the players to fit into his tactic. I think he could be successful as well because he's got amazing attributes. He's a fantastic manager. So even though he didn't do as well as Eddie this first year, I think he'd catch Eddie up eventually. And I think they'd both be fantastic choices. If Arsenal went for Diego Simeone in real life or they went for Eddie Howe in real life, personally I think they'd be onto a winner. I'd like to see him give the chance to Eddie Howe. But if I was an Arsenal fan and we got Diego Simeone, I'd be well happy with that. So I hope you enjoyed this little experiment. It's just a bit of fun. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new to FM Scout, feel free to subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out the fmscout.com website. Brilliant website, lots of downloadable content, lots of articles to read. Can really help you learn more about the game, improve your game. Some great graphics as well, face packs, kit packs, everything you need. So check it out, there'll be a link down below. I'm Buda FM. Have a nice day. Take care. I'll see you later.